We're using the Yeti mic and my Logitech webcam. All of this looks pretty legit. How we doing, everybody? What's up, Instagram? How's it going, Simon? Pinhasvi D Shiva. All right, how we doing over here, YouTube and Facebook? I don't know if ever Facebook actually gets on here. I only see comments from like YouTube and stuff. What's going on, Bic 9000? Let's see. What's up? Let's see some love here over in YouTube. Let me know that you're alive and that you're binge watching YouTube cat videos, hopefully coding tutorials at least. Rahan, Ahmad, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. No complaints. Every day is an awesome day. We good, bruh. What's up, Carmen? Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what the best programming language is for 2021. All right. Is there a best programming language? But before we dive in case you don't know who I am Jason. I'm a full stack developer here at DevSlopes, as well as the Web Academy instructor and mentor. All right. So DevSlopes has these different academies, and we work with students, help teach them how to code and how to get paid, because it's so important as we learn skills, right? I mean, ideally, we want to learn a skill and we want to get paid for it. And that's what we do here at DevSlopes. We don't just like teach someone how to code and, wave, adios, see you later. We're here every step of the way. We help you through the career prep, how to work with recruiters, the job interview process, everything. And what's so cool is we've got students, like I've got students right now in the Web Academy, and they're only like a third of the way through, and they're already making money. Like they're already freelancing projects, and they only know HTML, CSS, and a tiny bit of JavaScript, and they're already making like $1,000 or more. I know a couple of students has made a few grand already, but like, how cool is that? Like, where can you learn how to code? And then you've got a mentor and a coach who pushes you to go make money. Like what software education system does that? Like, it's important that you get paid. All right. But anyways, again, Jason here with DevSlopes, full stack developer. I'm a web developer. I've dabbled in a few other programming languages like iOS development and a little bit of Android. They were fun, but I prefer web for sure. So what is the best programming language for 2021? So a lot of people, they'll come to me and ask this question. Sorry, YouTube, it looks like we're having connection issues again. My Wi-Fi sucks. But so people ask me this question: what is the best programming language? And the reality is, the best programming language for 2021 is the programming language that you choose that aligns up with your goals for programming. All right. There's no like best programming language 2021, right? Because if you want to be an iOS developer and build, iPhone apps, well, then web development technologies isn't going to be the best thing, because that doesn't align with what you want to do. So you're going to want to learn Swift. If you want to do Android development, you're going to learn Kotlin. If you want to work on like web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, foundational, you got to have those. And then jump into like a library like React. There is Angular. That's a framework. Angular is awesome, but there's a super steep learning curve. And so especially if you're learning how to code, React is a much smoother transition. All right, because it uses JavaScript in a way that you're already familiar with. All right, so the best programming language for 2021 is what aligns with your programming goals. Do you want to do web, iPhone, Android? Do you want to work on embedded systems? Do you want to build automated systems? Do you want to write code for the rovers that are on Mars, right? Like, what do you want to do? And that is by far the absolute path that you should go down. Otherwise, everything else is a waste of time. So I see a lot on the internet like, oh, Python is the greatest thing. And it is. Python is amazing. All right. And it has such a broad general purpose of what it can do. But again, you've got to ask yourself, is what you want to do with programming. Does Python align with those goals? So let's, I'm going to take some questions here from YouTube, and then Instagram we'll get to some questions over in your department. What's going on, Miss Poet? Prof U, what's going on? Dart is cool. I've done, I haven't built any production apps using like Flutter and Dart, but I've done a couple of tutorials with Dart applications. It was really fun. I really like the syntax, everything like that. Is JavaScript best? JavaScript is foundational if you're wanting to do anything like on the front end with web development, right? And you can actually use it for server-side code too to, write the back end, like as long as you're using something like Node JS, which allows you to write JavaScript on the server. So yeah, JavaScript is critical. Smart Central HTML is the best ever. Yeah, it is. I know you're kidding. Let's see. Clash of Personas. Started out learning Python and C. Been learning Julia lately. So Clash of Personas. Why are you learning so many programming languages right now? So, I mean, one of the things that I advise all my students is pick one technology stack, stick with it for like a year, get very proficient with it, and then start testing out some of these other, programming languages. And it's really just learning a new syntax, more or less. But again, be sure that you're picking programming languages that line up with what you want to do. Don't just learn it because somebody told you to. I think that's the silliest advice. Learn Python because it's amazing, or learn C++. It's the best thing out there. First off, C++ for a beginner. Are you kidding me? That is an insane learning curve. Oh my good gosh. Talk about like wanting to quit life. Like trying to learn C++ as a beginner, like your first like take at code. What a nightmare. Don't learn C++ as a first beginner technology. You're just gonna break stuff. All right. Let's see. Suggest 3 different courses for software development. Ooh, this one's a good one. Kazim Shak suggests 3 different courses for software development. DevSlopes Academy. We've got it for iOS, web, and Android. Go to devslopes.com/apply. And in the Web Academy, you'll be learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, ES6, React, and all the backend stuff like Node and MongoDB. And you're going to learn how to deploy websites, all that fun stuff. And then in the iOS course, you've got Swift, and I believe we cover Firebase as well. And then in the Android, we cover a little bit of Java. Kotlin's really where the Android community is pushing things. All right, so Kotlin there. I don't know. I don't do the Android stuff. I'm not in those academies. I'm in web. But yeah, devslopes.com/apply and get set up with a free career coaching call. See if DevSlopes is even for you. I would be honored to work with you and help you learn how to code and make money. Let's see, Class of Personas. I learned Python 3 and C for the last decade. Okay, so you've been doing it a while for a decade. Okay, switched to Julia this last year. That's cool. That's cool. So Clash of Personas, are you developing professionally? I imagine, right? Are you doing freelance work? Do you have your own company, or do you work for a company somewhere? That's really cool. You've been coding a long time. Job scene and suggest 3 different certificates for web or software development. DevSlopes Academy. we certify every student who can get through it, and it's not easy. It's not like this bullcrap Udemy stuff where you just have to watch a video and then it's like, yay, I earned a certificate. No, like at the very end of the DevSlopes Academy, you have a 100-question quiz, and then you have your capstone project that you have to turn in, and it's graded. All right. Someone like me, like I was a full stack engineer at Dell Computers. All right. I will personally be reviewing your code and giving you feedback and all those things. So it's pretty tough. Like people who actually get through the academy, like have the legit skills to be successful in the programming industry. We don't just hand out certificates because it's like, oh, handing out trophies to everybody. Everybody wins. No, not everybody wins. You have to work hard. Coding's hard, and you've got to earn it. All right, we're going to take some Instagram questions. What's going on, Instagram family? Welcome, everybody. Let's see. So Amir Diab, what is the best programming language for cybersecurity? Oh my gosh. You know what? Let's Google it. What is the best programming language for cybersecurity? Okay, for 2021, what do we have going on here? I've never really looked into cybersecurity a ton. Python. Well, duh, that makes sense. Python, because Python is super secure. I know Java is a super secure language. I'm not saying that's cybersecurity. I have no idea, but I'm just saying I know that Python is a very scalable and secure language, and it's quick. Oh, okay. So we've got Python for cybersecurity. There's the Golang. All right, that's gaining some traction. JavaScript. All right, that's actually losing traction. It looks like on this website that I'm checking out. It's losing a little bit of traction here into 2021 for cybersecurity. And that makes sense because JavaScript is so loosey-goosey and full of bugs. Like it's so easy to write bad code. So that makes sense. And then there's C and C++, slowly getting up there. But it seems like Python and Golang are the top languages for cybersecurity. Good question. I learned something today. Thank you for making me Google that. What about Python Django? Yeah, Python Django is a good mix. Python for the front end and then Django for the back end and stuff. That's a good mix. And again, it all comes down to what is it you're actually writing? Like, are you building desktop apps, cross-platform apps, web apps, iOS apps? You can do Python. It runs on iOS and web and everything. So it just depends on what you're doing. In my opinion, all right, in my experience, I think Python is fantastic. Like, I know you can do web development with it, but I would much rather prefer just HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then React, and then choose Node and Mongo for the backend. But that's just me. I think they're simpler to work with because I don't have to go learn Django and Python for a full stack app. I can just know my web technologies and then do Node and everything and keep everything JavaScript. I don't have to learn a bunch of stuff. Let's see, Roblialu. I probably ruined that, but anyways, great question. Do you think it is a good idea to learn C++ for computer vision? Computer vision, I'm not sure that I'm following exactly what you mean by that. C++ is a fantastic language. Like, if you need software to run insanely fast, all right, C++, because it compiles and everything, it's insanely fast. And if you need speed, C++ is great. You'll find it a lot in AAA games as well. And then as well as in like embedded systems. So C++, sure, learn it. If you're a beginner, choose something else. I mean, do C++ if you want. If you have like loads of grit and you don't give up, because C++ is going to want to make you quit life. Let's see, Prince, what is a beginner's language likely to be used? What's a beginner language likely to be used? I'm going to answer this. I think what you're asking, I don't understand this question, but I'm going to answer the best I can. Beginner programming languages for web, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. Beginner for iOS, obviously Swift. For Android, it's going to be Kotlin. Python's also really great for a beginner programming language. It has a super clean syntax, and it has a very broad general purpose. It basically does everything. It's like a jack of all trades. But again, I always recommend learn what you want to do with programming. All right. Let's see. Hey, I had a question. I wanted to go into web dev and wanted to start with the MERN roadmap, but people advised me to learn Java or any core language due to the interview purpose. Is that true? No, absolutely. That is not true. The MERN stack in Java have completely different places. All right. So Java is used more in enterprise software because it does compile. It is fast and it's super secure. And again, like Python, it has a very broad general purpose for writing like the client side code, and then you can use part of it to write server side and everything. So it's an enterprise language primarily. You can do Android apps in Java, but the Android community is pushing Kotlin. Um, Programming fundamentals are pretty much the same across the board. It's just every programming language kind of has their own syntax and their own kind of set of rules. And so for the interview process, understanding how code works is important. All right, understanding good practices, and then obviously like the conditional statements and loops and all that jazz. Like, yes, those are foundational things that apply in every programming language. But I mean, my take on Java. So my dad's a Java developer. He works for some hospital. For whatever reason, and I don't know why, but Java, just thinking of these enterprise languages, what my dad does is so boring. I don't know how he's been doing it for 20 years, just like working in Java, and the software, this enterprise software that he's working on, it seems so mundane and boring, but he loves it. All right. Me, I could never do Java and do those enterprise apps unless it's like something super legit and cool. Um, but I like web technologies, and again, these cover different realms of things and solve different solutions. Java, again, it can be faster, more secure, and everything. It just depends on what you want to do. But for a beginner, the MERN stack is flipping awesome. That's what I do, and that's what I did at Dell Computers when I was a full stack engineer at Dell. That's what I did was the MERN stack, and there are so many opportunities for these MERN stack developers. Like web development, there's just so many jobs available. All right, Amir, best programming language for cybersecurity. I answered that. I think that was on YouTube as well. I don't know. I forget. What is the best language and framework for backend? There's a lot of things that you can use in backend. Again, it kind of depends on like what is your client side? Like, is this an iOS app? Is it an Android app? Is it web? You've got languages you can do like Python, PHP. You can use Java. There's Ruby on Rails. There's Django. I mean, there's Node.js, of course. There's a bunch of different backend programming languages that you can use. If you want something that works really well out of the box, Angular, the Angular framework ships. It's end to end, so it has all your client side stuff. It has all of your backend tools like HTTP requests, all that stuff. It's a very organized, like what I mean by that is there are very hardcore practices about how to write Angular code. And so when it comes to like React or Angular applications, you'll see a lot of the corporations embracing Angular because it does have such strict rules. But yeah, Angular is an awesome framework. And then use something like Node. That way you can just keep everything in JavaScript. Yeah, Python is awesome for cybersecurity for sure. Let's see. Do we need to learn the complex math first? No, that's another myth with programming. I mean, obviously, it depends on what you're getting into in programming, but in my experience, like 98% of traditional programmer jobs don't require you to be a math wizard. All right, just basic math, like 7th grade math, and that's all you need. All right, it's not intense. Let's see, what else do we have? Can you teach Java full stack developer? I wouldn't want to personally because I'm not a fan of Java. It's a great programming language, not a fan. But in our Android Academy with DevSlopes, I mean, we do teach some Java. It's for Android, but then again, primarily you're going to be learning Kotlin and then full stack Android apps. Rajiv, how did you learn coding? So this is cool. So I'm a self-taught programmer. I didn't go to college. I don't have a computer science degree, none of that shenanigans. I had 9 years in regional sales, and then decided one day I was really tired of dealing with customers. And I just wanted to put on my headphones, rock out to some Britney Spears, and slay some code. And so, self-taught developer, and it was rough. I really wish I would have known something like what DevSlopes has right now. And I wish I would have had a mentor and a coach. It probably would have saved me like 4 or 5 months worth of time. But yeah, self-taught. I did do this in-person boot camp it was a 12-week boot camp. The stuff was so over my head. It moved so fast because these in-person boot camps, they have to shove 12 weeks of curriculum, or yeah, they have to shove the curriculum and fit it into 12 weeks. So if there's people that are falling behind or can't keep up, they don't wait for you. And so when I went to this in-person boot camp, this was back in 2015, there was 15 people in this boot camp. And by the end of the boot camp, there was 3 people left. There was me and 2 others. And that's because the boot camp moved so fast. It left people behind. They got frustrated and they quit. So I'm not a fan of in-person boot camps because I know that's just what they do and it's too bad. But DevSlopes Academy, lifetime access, work with me, a personal mentor and a coach. I will teach you how to code and I will teach you how to make money. All right. These other in-person boot camps don't do that shenanigans. I will review your resume, review all your code. I'll help you with career coaching, all of that stuff. I'll help you land freelance work, A to Z. I do it all. My job's not done until you make money. All right. I'm going to hop over to YouTube. What camera am I looking at? YouTube here in a second. How much time do we have? We have 8 minutes. All right. Looks like just a lot of people joining here. Okay, cool. I'm going to take some questions here from YouTube. How we doing, YouTube? Let's see. Joseph, does HTML, CSS, and JavaScript enough to be a web developer? It is to be a front-end web developer. Now, I don't see a lot of websites being built in vanilla JavaScript, which means just pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's usually a library or a framework like React or Angular, for an example, or Vue. There's tons of different ones that you can use. And so, but the cool thing is once you know JavaScript, it's relatively easy to pick up some of these other libraries or frameworks. It's just really kind of a change of syntax, but it is enough. And you do have to understand APIs just a little bit, and it's not as daunting and scary as it might seem, because as a front-end web developer, yes, you need HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but you also need to understand how to work with APIs and consume that data and inject it into your UI. All right, you don't have to write the APIs or the backend, all right, but you've got to be able to understand just a working knowledge of how APIs work so you can tap into those. Do you recommend Laravel PHP for backend? I do not. I'm not saying it's a bad choice. PHP. I'm not going to dog on PHP, but it is a gross looking programming language. It just is. It's not bad. I'm just saying the syntax is so bad, and it's been around for so long. There are other things that can solve backend development better than Laravel and PHP. I mean, I know they are widely used today. That's fine. You'll find it a lot in legacy code and things like that, or some enterprise companies are still using it, but that's just because PHP has been around for like several decades. And, you know, we've advanced as a civilization with better programming languages or more effective ones. Let's just put it that way. Let's see, Andreas, do you think AI will replace the way we code today? Will there be a lesser need for programmers since we have lots of autocomplete plugins for different IDE languages? No, I absolutely will. AI will never take over web development. Web development is so, or programming in general, is such a unique skill and so custom. I don't see how any robot could figure it out. Like it is a way of problem solving that is so unique and so specific to whatever problem you're trying to solve. Sure, they might come out with a prepackaged like library or something to help automate some of those processes or functionalities, but AI, no. But there is a future for AI development. It's gaining more traction every year. Can you comment on C sharp? C sharp is awesome. You can build, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. I know you can do game development in it. Oh my gosh, I'm completely drawing a blank. C sharp is a good language. I've only used it when using Unity for some game development, just like some tutorials I took way back then. But again, oh my gosh, I don't have time to Google this, but you should just Google what C sharp programming is. All right. And yes, I've been a developer for several years. I don't know every programming language. I don't spend any time in C sharp. Last time I did was like 4 years ago. Let's see. How is make programming language? Can you talk about this? How do you make a programming language? You have to be a wizard. Yeah, okay. So Miguel says desktop apps with C sharp. Thank you for chiming in. You can do desktop apps, game development. All right, ADD. I just got distracted here. How do you make a programming language? Dude, I don't even, I've read about it, and you have to be a different breed of human being. Like, and I still have this question, that exact question crossed my mind today sometimes. Like, how the flip did somebody come up with JavaScript? How the flip did we come up with binary? Like, that the code compiles or whatever into binary, and that's how computers read stuff. Like, who the flip invented that? Well, I know who invented it. I've read the name. I forget it now. But like, to be able to come up with that, like, you've got to be a different breed of human for that. So yeah. Let's see. What do you think about Elixir and Phoenix? I have never used it. I've actually never Googled what exactly that is. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any thoughts about it. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. Let's see. Ertan says, bro, I want to be an iOS developer. What can you give me advice? So, Gurjan, if that's how you, Gorjan, however you pronounce that, that's a fantastic question. iOS development is awesome. Swift is relatively easy to pick up. It has a really clean syntax to it. To get started with it, there are free tutorials on like YouTube. You can check out some cheap Udemy courses. All right. But if you're like serious, like dead serious, you want to make a life change and be an iOS developer, then I would encourage you to check out the DevSlopes Academy. All right. Go to devslopes.com/apply. And then just get on a free call with one of our career coaches. Just, talk with them, let them know what it is you want to do, what your goals are, and see if the DevSlopes Academy is for you. So yeah, iOS development is awesome. I'll wrap up with this short story here. So my brother is a self-taught programmer. He's an iOS developer. He worked at a call center, crappy call center, okay, doing like satellite sales or something like TV. Really crappy job. And then he was flipping burritos at this restaurant called Costa Vida. He was one of the burrito guys. So anyways, he was broke. He was married, had a couple kids. He was broke out of his mind. And then I was getting into programming. He saw that I was getting into it, but he's like, I don't want to do web. I want to do iOS. But he didn't have a MacBook. So he borrowed one from a family member, a MacBook Air, and started learning how to code, like doing these little iOS tutorials on his lunch break at his call center job. All right. After a couple of months of doing that, he actually felt like he was ready to start applying for jobs. So he had been learning to code on his own, I think, for 10 months, maybe closer to a year, landed his first iOS job position ever, paid him $80,000 a year. Okay. And he's been coding for maybe 4.5 years now. And let's just fast forward 4.5 years. And now he's making about 120,000 a year or something. Okay. Self-taught developer, learning how to code on his dang lunch break. All right. So I promise you, if you will commit to learning to code, and if you have a very clear guide to learning path of exactly what to do to become successful with it, I promise you programming will change your life. It just will. It'll provide you with freedoms and flexibility and money that just, that a lot of people dream of. Programmers have pretty comfortable lifestyles. All right, it's 4:00. I'm going to just wrap up with maybe a question from each here, okay? All right. I guess there's no Instagram questions. I answered the last one. Hello from Morocco. Hey, M&A. All right, what do we have over here? Okay, there's a couple of questions here. Let's see. Tashego, hello. I wanted to ask, in the workplace, when a front-end dev makes basically the GUI, how does the back-end devs link their work with the front end, and what do you mean by enterprise apps? So that's a great question. It is the front-end developer's job to hook up the backend. The backend developers will create the APIs and then the database, and it is your job as the front end developer, okay, the one who does HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, to take those APIs and plug it into the UI to load data. And you have to write all the logic, like when people are switching tabs or hitting buttons or filtering something. It is your job to make these API requests to filter data in the database. So like at Dell Computers, I was working with Node and Mongo. And so I was doing a lot of Mongo aggregates. Like at Dell Computers, the software we were building, it would filter servers and things like that. And so I would write these Mongo aggregates to query different collections of data and to return that to the front end. All right. All right, last question. Best book for learning mathematics from scratch for machine learning and AI advanced maths. I have no idea, but that is a great question to Google. I would literally copy that verbatim, paste it in Google, and see what comes up. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. So in closing, if you are wanting to learn to code, all right, you're a beginner, or even like you've already started that journey and you need some structure, some guidance, some accountability, you want to work with a mentor or a coach, and you want to make money, all right, go check out the DevSlopes Academy, devslopes.com/apply. I would be honored to work with you as your web development mentor and coach and help you get paid. All right, that's important to me. It is a waste of time to spend all this time learning to code and not reap the reward. All right, so I will help you get paid. Second, if you just want a really fun coding challenge, DevSlopes has a 30-day code challenge for JavaScript and iOS. All right, you can go to 30daycodechallenge.com. We just started our newest 30-day challenge. The next one starts in a couple of weeks. So go sign up, get your place in line for the next challenge. All right, I'm Jason with devslopes.com. Stay positive, stay safe, keep coding, and that's it. Adios.